He's won it 3 times now.
Can't we see the team again? It's very exciting.
We're not doing the team. We've done enough. There we go. Shearer, Hughes, Henry, Ronaldo. It's not a bad list, is it? When it comes to top Premier League players. Do we have to talk about this? Oh, yeah. Don?
Don, there you go.
He broke the record, hasn't he?
He's broke the record. Well done.
I mean,
last season.
There you go.
There you go.
Imagine doing it at the start of the season.
I know no one remembers what happened last season.
Absolutely sod all to talk about during the summer, although I wasn't here. Then it was Alexander Eze and Gyokeres, and it was getting rammed down your throat on a daily basis.
And the Club World Cup.
They could have dropped this team out. Oh, it kept us going for a fortnight.
I know, but there we go. Just take a look.
What's wrong with my hair, by the way?
It's a bit... There's a word I want to use, but I can't. There we go. So let's take a look at other winners, shall we? There we go. Confirmation that Salah is your Men's Player of the Year. Meanwhile, Calenti gets the Women's Player of the Year. Morgan Rogers.
What's the Merit Award?
Olivia Smith. A Merit Award for Gareth Southgate. I don't know, Greg. Let's just throw it in to make you angry. James Trafford comes in as your Championship Player of the Year.
Merit Award. That's like being last in the school race when you're at school, isn't it?
Should have read the email, I'm being told. ESPN FC is presented by Xfinity. The Wi-Fi is booming. Arsenal, of course, kicked off their campaign with a victory away against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Gyokeres was given his first start, making that big move away from Portugal. Not the best performance from him. Here's Arteta.
Well, he did a lot of things very good. You can tell, especially in our high press and the rhythm that we demand, that especially in the first half we were giving a bit too much time. It's something that we have to work on him, especially there. And then, in finalizing situation, he didn't have that many chances to do that because, as I said, on the previous action, before we had to play that last ball, that the line was standing still with 40 meters behind, we managed to put the ball through to exploit his quality. But overall, I mean, coming away to Manchester United, winning your first game with Arsenal, it's a good start.
Talk to me about it, Don. As a player, as a teammate, are you doing anything to help him, to talk to him? Do you make a big deal of it? Obviously, the media has been talking about this for the last few days because of the nature of the way things are at the moment. I'm just intrigued what it's like within a locker room with a player like that.
Yeah, of course, you have to build relationships. A new centre forward comes in who's a different style to what they've been used to. Havertz is a player that's quite comfortable coming short, so Saka will know his movements, and Declan Rice and Odegaard, they'll all understand Havertz's movements. Now they've got a centre forward in who likes to run in behind, he likes to be direct, he's physically, he's powerful. I think the reason why we didn't see too much of him, because Man United played really well in the game and pushed Arsenal all the way back, so they couldn't get him any chances in and around the six-yard box, 18-yard box. In truth, I thought he looked a bit clunky. I thought he looked a bit stiff, a little bit wooden. But it wouldn't stun me at home against Leeds at the weekend if he's off and running. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, of course, when any new centre forward comes in, if you're a midfield player, wide player, you're going to ask and you're going to have the conversation, what sort of balls do you want? Do you want it into your feet? I played with Kevin Campbell and we used to work on opposites. So the opposites were, if Kevin comes short, he'd want it in behind. If he went in behind, he'd check and come short. So we kept it sort of simple. So yeah, I think there's more to come from him, but I must admit he didn't look sharp.
Didn't look like a player to me on his fitness at the weekend that he's going to run away from too many defenders. Okay, as Don said, clunky. Maybe that sharpness will come. I wasn't on board with Nedum's opinion that Havertz will get game time ahead of this guy, because you know they have the mortgage of the house on this one, don't they? I was saying to you earlier, they've had a miss on Gabriel Jesus. They've had a miss really on Kai Havertz because he's not a real goal scorer. So Mikel Arteta needs this guy to be getting game time. He needs him to be sharp and he needs him to be scoring goals, because he's the so-called missing piece, the one that's going to get them over City and over Liverpool. Now, talking about having discussions with new players coming in to try and help them, yes, you do. But if I'm Gyokeres, one of the discussions I'm having watched the weekend, is listen. I get it, but when we get the ball wide, if I'm talking to Saka or Martinelli or whoever it is, I don't want all these tiki-taka into Martin Odegaard. I'm making runs.
So do you vocalise that? How does that work?
I don't know how confident he is as a young man to storm into a dressing room and start barking out orders. Some of us would.
Well, of course.
Some wouldn't. But Don will tell you, as a guy who played up front at times, you know, when you're making runs, and listen, Matthijs de Ligt played him well at the weekend.
Okay.
He did, as Don said, he had a good game.
Yeah.
And Gyokeres wanted a fight with De Ligt, and De Ligt's as big and strong as they come. But if I'm in the penalty area, and that's what my bread and butter is, because he's a goal scorer, he's a natural goal scorer, then I don't want all this twisting and turning, because if I'm saying to Saka or Martinelli, listen, you get a chance, whip it in, early doors, whip balls in, and if I'm not there and making the runs, that's on me. But too many times at the weekend, their final third decisions, Arsenal, and it is early in the season, of course, the final decisions was these little balls into where they're trying, like City used to do.
Yes.
They're trying to score the perfect goal with the perfect pass after 20 passes. And you can see Haaland at City over the years in certain games. He gets so frustrated because it's not coming in the box. Then De Bruyne was starting to whip it in early and he had a field day. So if I'm Gyokeres, my Arsenal career could not just hinge on what I do, but it could hinge on what others do around me. And that is good quality crosses into the box.
Is that he's playing it forward. Not from what we saw for so much of last season, where everything was back sideways. You get the feeling every time he's on the ball, he's trying to make something happen.
Yeah, forward pass all the time. I mean, it's like when Michael Carrick was at Man United in his pomp, that was one of the things, and it's a different type of player. But Carrick's first thought process whenever he got on the ball was a forward pass into another midfielder or a striker. Now, Reijnders is different, obviously. Carrick was a very good passer. Reijnders is a good passer. He's relatively combative. He likes to get forward. He can score a goal and he can see a pass. He was excellent in Italy. Obviously, he's Dutch and he's a regular in the Dutch national team. But you think about the problems they've had in there. They've had Rodri with an injury. They had Gundogan who's gone back. He's not gone back as the same player. That's crystal clear. They signed Nico Gonzalez, but he's a little bit on the outside. I don't think Guardiola's too sure about him. But Reijnders just looks the real deal. That being said, the amount of space in this game that was afforded to the City midfield was quite scary. But in terms of the quality that he's going to bring in and the dynamic aspect of the game to sort of speed it up, I think that kind of thing as well. Talking about Gyokeres, it'll please the likes of Haaland and other. And apparently, Oscar Bob was very good in this game as well, the youngster who's had his injury problems. Yeah. That will please the likes of Erling Haaland because, again, I'll go back to the early discussion we had about Gyokeres. The tippy-tappy stuff it's nice in its possession, but it annoys the hell out of strikers who are making runs. And the more Reijnders gets on the ball and gets forward, Erling Haaland will have a field day.
Liverpool do what they do, Dan. I mean, even though there was 87 minutes left on the clock at 2-2, you still think that Liverpool create a chance or two, and they come away. Chiesa, that'll do his confidence the world of good to getting the potential winner, and then Salah puts a seal on it in the end, 4-2. And, Arne Slot's been criticised a little bit from certain people in the media here, saying, were they too open? Well, you never criticise. I always find it a funny one. Like, you never criticise a manager when they win 4-3. It's almost like a 2-2, or only if they won 3-2. It's like, oh, you're too open. Oh, you're a little bit chaotic. But that's Arne Slot's way. He had that all the majority of last season. I think the first 15 games that he managed Liverpool, they only won by one goal, whether it was 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-2. So that's his style. But I think you'll see a different Liverpool with Gravenberch in it for sure.
But I still think you've got the two midfielders in Florian Wirtz, where last year they effectively had three midfielders who you would consider natural midfielders who can do the defensive side of it as well. You had Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch. So you had three people there that were able to do the sort of quality aspect going forward, but the dynamic defensive aspect going back. When you put a player like Wirtz in, I'm not suggesting Wirtz is lazy, he's not, but he's not as good a defensive player as the three that played in there last year. When you add that to the changes that have been made at the back, and we saw it in the Community Shield, and after the Community Shield game, I think Nedum and Frank and myself said, listen, it's not a disaster, of course it's not, and they lost that game, but it's not a surprise to me that Bournemouth were afforded the chances that they were in this game, having watched them the week before. Because Arne Slot would have gone back and watched the Palace game. He would have looked at the relationships between Frimpong and the centre-half, between Gyokeres and Van Dijk. And there was a lot of gaps there because that's a new back four. It's not Alexander-Arnold. As bad defensively as he was at times, it's not him. He's got a relationship. It's not Andy Robertson. It's new. Mm-hmm. And if you think that's not needing worked on, then you're pie in the sky. So there are areas of the field that that have changed. Dynamics have changed in the team, and the players have changed. And I think that may take a little while for them to get used to it. The question will be, until he gets everybody on and flowing on the same page, will they have as good a run as they did last year to give themselves the buffer? Or are they going to have a few hiccups because of the changes and allow the likes of Arsenal and City to get off and get a head start? That's the big question for Liverpool. I think they've got the Arsenal game coming up pretty soon, so we're going to get a good gauge of that back four. But there's no doubt whatsoever, having seen the two games of the season, the Community Shield and the Bournemouth game, that defensively and the structure of the team is diminished slightly for now than it was last season.
Of course, we're under 2 weeks now until the transfer window shuts. Eze to Spurs is reported to be very close to being a done deal.
You know, look, Spurs are a great club, but they don't really. They won the Europa League last year, which is great for them. But they don't really contend a lot in the real elite stuff. I mean, they had that spell under Pochettino. They won the Champions League final. But if you want to do it season after season after season, then it's not Tottenham. And the thing for me, and I think most of us are on the same page here, is that at 27 years old, that's your absolute 27, 28, 29, maybe 30. You're looking at the peak years, and he is good enough. I mean, more than good enough to step in to any team. Liverpool, he's not going to go to Liverpool, but he's good enough to step into a Liverpool, an Arsenal, and a City, and be the difference between them winning tight games and winning championships. Of course, he's going to improve Tottenham. Of course he is, because he's a quality footballer. But at 27, he's not going to be competing for what he should be competing for with his talent level at that club versus the others. I mean, Madueke to Arsenal or Eze to Arsenal, I don't know. You'd have to ask Mikel Arteta. If you were asking me, I would take Eze all day long because he can do things that other players cannot do. And he's shown that over the last couple of years.
Don?
I agree. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's like watching a cage footballer. It's like watching someone that just plays with so much freedom because he's got natural skill. He's a fantastic player. I think, just off the back of the way Canate defended, I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool bought Mark Gurhey, but they're going to lose some players. He'll be a bad one for Crystal Palace to lose off the back of losing Zaha a few years ago. Elise last year to Bayern. This kid's just got something special in him where, you watch him play, and he doesn't play with like an attitude or a swagger or like overconfidence. He's just got it. It's just some players have just got it where they just take the ball, and he's got great skills. You can play him in different positions. You can always, play him on the left or a number 10 or even a little bit deeper to have an impact on the game. I think he's versatile, as Craig said, 27, he's in his peak years coming up, but it's his attitude that he plays with that I like. It's almost like he doesn't fear playing against anyone. He'll go to Anfield or Old Trafford or Emirates, wherever, and he'll still think and he still plays like he owns it, and you can't buy that. I mean, that's such a gift to have that confidence levels on top of the skill levels that he's got.